The sun hung high over Macedonia Square as Lumi and Stain stood beneath the colossal statue of the warrior on a horse. The bronze monument towered above them, a symbol of a city where history and the present collided. Lumi unfolded a worn paper map, though the path ahead seemed written in the cobblestones themselves. Stain checked his watch, a grin spreading across his face as the fountain began to dance, spraying a fine mist into the warm afternoon air. This was the start of their long-awaited journey through the heart of the Balkan capital. They walked toward the Vardar River, where the ancient stone bridge stretched its sturdy arches toward the north. This bridge was the thread that sewed the two halves of Skopje together. Lumi paused at the highest point of the span, leaning over the stone railing to watch the turquoise water rush beneath them. Stain paced ahead, feeling the smooth, centuries-old stones under his boots. He turned back to gesture toward the minarets and church spires rising from the horizon, signaling that they were leaving the modern world behind. Stepping off the bridge, the air changed. The scent of roasted coffee and wood smoke greeted them as they entered the old bazaar. It was a labyrinth of narrow alleys where every turn revealed a hidden workshop or a vibrant storefront. Lumi walked slowly, her eyes darting between the colorful textiles hanging from wooden beams. She reached out to touch a hand-woven rug, feeling the intricate texture of the thread. The sound of copper hammers hitting metal echoed through the streets like a rhythmic heartbeat. Their exploration led them to the heavy wooden doors of Kursunluhan. Inside, the world fell silent. The former lead-roofed inn opened into a majestic courtyard surrounded by 2 stories of stone arches. Stain wandered into the center of the yard, looking up at the rectangular patch of blue sky framed by the ancient walls. He traced the rough surface of a stone pillar, imagining the merchants and travelers who had rested here centuries ago. The coolness of the shadows offered a brief sanctuary from the midday heat. Not far away, they discovered Suluhan. While Kursunluhan felt like a fortress of silence, Suluhan was alive with the spirit of creativity. Now home to an art school, the courtyard was filled with the faint smell of oil paint and clay. Lumi and Stain walked side by side through the lower gallery, peering through open doorways at students working on canvases. The architecture was a perfect blend of utility and beauty, with its whitewashed walls and wooden balconies reflecting the soft light. The walking had stirred a deep hunger, so they followed the irresistible aroma of grilled meat to a small, bustling eatery. A waiter brought out 2 steaming plates of kebabi, the famous Skopje meatballs, served with fresh flatbread and charred green peppers. Lumi took her first bite, the rich spices instantly making her smile. Stain tore a piece of warm bread, using it to scoop up a side of creamy ajvar. They sat at a small outdoor table, watching the world pass by as they feasted on the city's most beloved flavors. No meal in the bazaar was complete without a sweet finale. Lumi led them to a dessert shop where trays of golden baklava and syrupy tulumba glistened under the glass counter. She pointed to a plate of the honey-soaked pastries, her eyes wide with anticipation. When the plate arrived, she carefully cut a piece with a small fork, savoring the crunch of the pastry and the sweetness of the syrup. The sugar gave them the second wind they needed to continue their ascent toward the sky. Before leaving the bazaar, they stopped to browse the rows of silver filigree and leather goods. Stain picked up a delicate silver brooch, marveling at the thin wires twisted into the shape of a butterfly. Lumi haggled playfully with a shopkeeper over a pair of handmade leather slippers, eventually tucking the wrapped parcel under her arm. They left the market with bags in hand, their pockets lighter but their spirits soaring, ready for the final climb of the day. The path to the Skopje fortress, or the Kale, was steep and winding. Stain took the lead, his pace steady as they climbed the stone stairs toward the massive ramparts. He reached the top of the outer wall first, looking back to offer a hand to Lumi. The fortress stood as a silent guardian over the city, its jagged walls telling stories of Roman, Byzantine, and Ottoman rule. From this height, the sounds of the bazaar below were muffled, replaced by the whistling of the wind through the battlements. As the sun began to set, Lumi and Stain sat on the edge of the fortress wall, their legs dangling over the side. The entire city of Skopje lay before them, bathed in a warm orange glow. They could see the stone bridge they had crossed hours ago and the tiny figures moving in the square. The modern buildings and the ancient minarets blended together into a single beautiful tapestry. They sat in silence, watching the lights of the city begin to flicker on, knowing that they had truly captured the heart of the city in a single day.